All right, my little revolutionaries, what do warehouse fires and oil prices have in common? Timing. I know Drill Sergeant already covered the Ontario, California warehouse fires with y'all, but did you hear about Ohio, New York? What about the oil refinery last month?
Huge explosion at an oil refinery in Texas forced nearby residents to shelter in place. It happened in Port Arthur. That's about 90 miles east of Houston. Video shows a large plume of smoke and flames billowing out of the refinery. Some residents reported hearing a loud boom and seeing their...
The mall store fire in California. The people are tired of the bullshit. The beatings continue until morale improves. Somebody shot up an Indianapolis councilman's house recently. Nobody was injured, but the shooter did leave a note saying no data centers. This comes after the politician voted to bring in data centers against the will of the people that he represents. Reap what you sow. A 20-year-old was arrested in suspicion of throwing a Molotov cocktail at Sam Altman's house. This comes after OpenAI decided to openly work with the United States government on its military objectives.
Is under arrest now for allegedly throwing a Molotov cocktail at the home of OpenAI CEO. The company says the person also made threats outside the company's headquarters in San Francisco. Nobody was hurt, though. The San Francisco Police Department says charges are still pending and that the case is an open and active investigation.
In Portville, California, a man who we can only assume is John Wick's father apparently put on some tactical gear and shot a sheriff's deputy to death. This is after he was being served an eviction notice. And now that homelessness is illegal, I guess he just took the faster route. Side quest, but it's relevant. Nebraska had its largest wildfire in its history last month, and the effects of that won't be felt until after the growing season. It was mainly in the farmland, and it took a giant chunk out of the food production. Peace talks between Iran and the United States fell through today, according to J.D. Vance's mascara dealer. This is mainly due to the disputes over the fate of the Strait of Hormuz. Iran wants to fully control the waterway and charge a tax, while Donald Trump wants 50% of that tax. To hell with everyone else. This is going to permanently affect oil prices in the future. Fuck. 68 supertankers just arrived in the United States to export oil. They arrived empty, and 22 more are on their way. This is 3 times the normal number, in case you were wondering. Corporations are going to benefit, and commodities are going to get more expensive in the United States. If you think gas prices are high right now, wait until we feel the shocks of the Strait of Hormuz closure after the 15th of April, and people coming to the United States to buy more oil. After the 15th of April, the ships that have left the Strait of Hormuz after the closure are done. There's no more. It's the last one.
The war in the Middle East is making life more expensive in America. Consumer prices spiked between February and March by the most in almost 4 years, and the annual inflation rate surged to 3.3%, the highest it's been under President Trump in either term. The war's fingerprints were all over this hot inflation report. Gasoline prices skyrocketed in March as the closure of the Strait of Hormuz disrupted energy exports out of the Middle East. Delivery service got more expensive, so did airfare, and that's a trend that could continue given surging jet fuel prices. Now, the news wasn't all bad. Eggs got cheaper, so did groceries overall, although that might not last given rising diesel costs. Still, war-linked price hikes are darkening the mood on Main Street. The University of Michigan says that consumer sentiment unexpectedly plunged in early April to all-time lows, worse than even the scariest days of COVID or 2008. And this sentiment drop, it was widespread across all age groups, income groups, and political affiliations. This is not just an economic problem, it's a political problem for the White House. President Trump promised voters that he would not just fix the cost of living, but that he would make prices plunge. But today's report shows that the war he's presiding over has undone progress on inflation, and the ripple effects are likely to be felt for months.
An oil refinery in Mexico has had a large explosion, and authorities are still trying to figure out the cause. This comes right after an oil refinery in Texas just had an explosion after the heater overheated. Timing. Oil production in the Middle East is going to take a long-term hit as all three parties continue to target oil infrastructure. This infrastructure takes months to years to build back, and the ripple effects are going to be felt throughout the world for a long time. This is until more facilities are made, certified, and then established in the market. All right, this all brings me back to my point. How long does it take to build a warehouse or a lumber yard or a mall or a mansion? It probably takes a couple of months at least, and that's all time that you have with a disrupted industry. Anybody who's worked in targeting can tell you how valuable that is. Construction equipment uses a lot of petroleum. That means insurance companies and corporations are going to be trying to build back these warehouses and lumber yards while prices are high. This creates a power vacuum because they will have to decrease supply. Having that void is going to be painful, but it does create an opportunity for some of us, like cottage food producers, community farms, small businesses. That's why at the Black Market Coalition, we're building the infrastructure to organize and connect communities while making vendors more efficient. You should be able to compete against large corporations as a community if you're aggressive enough to seize it. If you need the infrastructure for a side hustle, you can go to freeblackmarket.com. You can sell business to business, direct to customer. You can trade with your comrades. We have digital infrastructure for farmers, online services, small businesses, bulk items. Customers can even create a demand that vendors can fulfill. It's free to sign up and free to host your product. We only take 3% commission. That's it. As of the recording of this video, the only thing untouched by inflation is food. But that is expected to change after April 15th, when gas prices start to work their way through the food chain.
Hey, yeah, you. Before you click away to watch someone unbox a tactical toothbrush, let's talk about something real. Political Drain isn't just another content mill. We're a digital front in a very real war. Not with bullets, but with ideas, with action, and with solidarity. We pair urgent news with critical education. And we build community around actual resistance, not the hashtag kind. The kind that moves. But here's the thing. None of this is free. It isn't. Behind every video is time, labor, research, and some weird guy asking if we're gonna pay the hosting bill. And yeah, some of that money goes to things we can't necessarily say out loud. If you know, you know. Let's just say our special ops aren't Call of Duty LARPers. They're people making real moves to protect, uplift, and organize. You're not just funding a channel. You're funding a resistance network in a world where capital still calls the shots. Unfortunately, in a system built on artificial scarcity, even mutual aid has a price tag. And if we want to grow, if we want to win, we need your help. We need your help. So if you've got even a few bucks to spare, toss it our way. It's not for ads. It's not for merch drops, but for people making moves in the shadows so others can do it in the light. It's just us and you. So fund the mission, fund the fight, fund the future, because nobody's coming to save us. We save each other. That's how this works.